In 1469, in the thriving city of Florence, Niccolo Machiavelli was born, a man whose name would echo through the centuries, surrounded by controversy. Despite being harshly criticized and often labeled a failed politician, he left an undeniable legacy that shaped Western political thought. His most renowned work, The Prince, remains a cornerstone for understanding human nature and the inner workings of power. Since its publication, The Prince has elicited intense reactions. Some have called it a manual of evil, a guide to tyranny, even accusing Machiavelli of corrupting his readers. Why? Because he dared to argue that morally righteous actions do not always lead to success, while actions deemed cruel or wrong might ensure stability and security. But are Machiavelli's lessons confined to the rulers of his time, or do they offer teachings applicable to our own lives? In a world where kindness is often exploited and naivety can become a burden, Machiavelli challenges us to rethink the balance between virtue and resilience. In this video, we will delve into these ideas and reflect on a central question: is being good enough to survive in a world that is so competitive and at times cruel? Join us as we uncover Machiavelli's insights to help navigate the challenges of modern human nature and life. To understand Niccolo Machiavelli's philosophy, it is essential to start with his view of human nature. For Machiavelli, human beings are driven above all by self-interest. He believed that people tend to be selfish, ungrateful, and motivated by the desire to gain personal advantage, particularly in situations where they face no consequences for their actions. In The Prince, he writes, "Men are less hesitant about offending someone who makes himself loved than someone who makes himself feared." This perspective reflects his belief that in times of crisis, people often prioritize their own needs over moral obligations or loyalty. While many consider this view pessimistic, it is in fact a practical and strategic analysis of human behavior rooted in the observations of his era. Historical examples reinforce this perception: political betrayal, leaders abandoning allies in pursuit of power, and even modern conflicts where alliances have been broken for personal gain. These scenarios highlight how Machiavelli's ideas remain relevant across various contexts. This perspective also helps explain why kindness can sometimes be perceived as a weakness. In an environment where many act out of self-interest, being good without strategy can turn virtue into vulnerability. Machiavelli warns us about the crucial difference between appearing good and being good. For him, public perception is a tool of power, perhaps even more effective than true virtue. In The Prince, he asserts that a prince or any leader should strive to appear virtuous, but not necessarily be virtuous in reality. In politics and social interactions, the image one projects often holds greater importance than actual behavior. Machiavelli emphasizes that a ruler who appears merciful, generous, and pious can win the affection of the people. However, if that ruler fails to maintain power, those qualities become meaningless. He notes that in practice, leaders often need to be cunning and even ruthless to ensure stability. What matters then is the ability to manipulate public perception, keeping the masses in a state of admiration and respect, even if it requires deception or concealing less noble intentions. This principle extends to many areas of life in modern society. For instance, people often prioritize the appearance of goodness, sometimes at the expense of authenticity. The relentless pursuit of approval and the need to appear perfect can create an illusion of virtue that, deep down, masks weaknesses. However, the deeper question remains: What price do we pay when we commit solely to the appearance of goodness? One of the most controversial aspects of Machiavelli's work is his argument that in certain cases, cruelty can be a vital strategic tool for maintaining power and ensuring the stability of a regime. He asserts that a prince who uses cruelty in a calculated manner may achieve more effective results than one who tries to govern with excessive kindness or indecision. Machiavelli believes that cruelty, when well applied and justified, can be seen as a necessary means to prevent anarchy and protect the state. For him, cruel actions, when carried out decisively and effectively, can lead to quick and definitive outcomes, creating an environment of order and respect. This approach, in his view, is preferable to excessive benevolence, which risks weakening authority and inviting disorder. He uses historical examples such as Cesare Borgia to illustrate how cruelty, when managed wisely, can foster stability and secure loyalty. Machiavelli's central idea is that a ruler must balance different aspects of leadership, to be feared but not hated, and to know when to act decisively to prevent the erosion of power. In our daily lives, the concept of strategic cruelty can be likened to moments when we must make tough decisions or sever harmful relationships, even when it comes at an emotional cost. Machiavelli's analysis emphasizes that goodness without proper strategy can be perceived as a weakness. In a competitive world where personal interests often outweigh moral values, being overly kind can leave a leader or individual vulnerable to betrayal and exploitation. After reflecting on the pitfalls of blind goodness, the challenge lies in finding the balance between being good and being effective. Machiavelli does not advocate abandoning goodness altogether, but suggests being strategic about how and when it is applied. True wisdom, according to him, is knowing when to adopt a firm stance and when to be flexible, ensuring the maintenance of power without sacrificing integrity. In his renowned work, The Prince, Machiavelli proposes that a ruler's true virtue is not in being immaculately good, but in being capable of acting as circumstances demand. He teaches that in times of crisis or threat, what matters is not moral perfection, but the ability to make quick and effective decisions. To be good, therefore, does not mean to be passive or vulnerable. It means acting with discernment and pragmatism. In everyday life, this translates to knowing how to set clear boundaries, understanding when generosity might be exploited, and learning to say no when necessary. Kindness, when it is a conscious choice, does not have to be synonymous with weakness. When applied strategically, it can foster loyalty and trust while maintaining respect and authority. Machiavelli's teachings extend far beyond the political realm. They offer powerful lessons for personal development in today's world, where interpersonal and professional relationships often involve complexity and competition. His wisdom teaches us to act with discernment and balance. The key lies in applying his pragmatic insights without losing our humanity. In practice, this might mean understanding when to be flexible and when to assert firm boundaries. It involves recognizing when people are attempting to exploit our kindness, identifying when firmness is necessary, and accepting that kindness alone does not guarantee respect. Machiavelli reminds us that excessive goodness can make us vulnerable, and that we must learn to act strategically, to preserve our energy and maintain our standing. This balance also applies to how we manage our own ambitions and shortcomings. Instead of blindly adhering to ideals of moral perfection, we can acknowledge our imperfections and use them constructively to grow and strengthen ourselves. By reflecting on what Machiavelli teaches us, we can become better equipped to face adversity and make more assertive decisions without losing sight of our goals. While The Prince is Machiavelli's most famous work, his broader writings provide further insights into human behavior, leadership, and the art of survival. His discourses on the Roman historian Livy reveal his admiration for the balance between freedom and authority in the Roman Republic. These lessons can be applied to modern team dynamics, where balancing individual freedom with collective responsibility ensures stability and progress. For example, in today's workplaces, leaders face the challenge of fostering innovation while maintaining order. Machiavelli's advice to adapt leadership styles to the demands of the moment remains relevant. A leader who combines the structure of a ruler with the flexibility of a colleague often finds greater success. This ability to shift roles based on context is a testament to Machiavelli's emphasis on adaptability. Machiavelli's life itself was marked by adversity. After losing his political office and facing imprisonment, he turned to writing as a way to influence society. This resilience, born of necessity, underscores one of his key teachings: the ability to adapt and thrive in the face of changing circumstances. For individuals striving for personal growth, Machiavelli's life offers a reminder that setbacks can become stepping stones. When faced with rejection, failure, or criticism, the choice to persevere and reinvent oneself aligns with his philosophy of pragmatism. Instead of viewing adversity as a barrier, it can be seen as an opportunity to build strength and character. Incorporating Machiavelli's teachings into our lives does not mean abandoning morality. Instead, it involves embracing a pragmatic approach to challenges. Here are some practical ways to apply his lessons. Master the art of perception. Cultivate an image that reflects your strengths and values. Be authentic but strategic in how you present yourself to others. Set boundaries. Protect your time and energy by recognizing when generosity is being exploited. Learn to say no when necessary. Be adaptable, embrace change, and remain flexible in the face of uncertainty. Adjust your strategies to align with evolving circumstances. Balance kindness with strength. Approach relationships with a mix of compassion and assertiveness. Ensure that your kindness fosters respect rather than inviting exploitation. Learn from failure. View setbacks as opportunities for growth. Like Machiavelli, use challenges as a platform to develop resilience and wisdom. A crucial yet often overlooked aspect of Machiavelli's philosophy is his focus on timing. He recognized that even the best strategies could fail if not executed at the right moment. Timing, in Machiavelli's eyes, is the invisible force that determines whether actions lead to triumph or disaster. This principle is especially relevant in today's fast-paced world. Consider decision-making in a corporate environment. Launching a product too early or too late can lead to failure. Similarly, in personal relationships, addressing sensitive issues requires an intuitive sense of timing to ensure the message is received constructively. Machiavelli's advice reminds us that patience and vigilance are essential for seizing opportunities and avoiding pitfalls. Machiavelli's philosophy often raises questions about morality. Does his emphasis on pragmatism justify unethical behavior? The answer lies in understanding the nuances of his teachings. Machiavelli does not advocate for unbridled immorality. Rather, he encourages us to weigh ethical considerations against practical outcomes. For instance, Consider a leader faced with the dilemma of laying off employees to save a company. While the decision may seem cruel, it might be the only way to ensure the organization's survival, thereby protecting the livelihoods of many others. Machiavelli's approach invites us to embrace ethical flexibility, not to act without conscience, but to act with a broader perspective of long-term consequences. One of the most empowering lessons from Machiavelli is his guidance on building and maintaining influence. Whether in leadership, personal branding, or social dynamics, influence is a critical tool for achieving goals. Machiavelli advises individuals to cultivate relationships strategically, recognizing the importance of alliances and networks. In today's digital age, this principle is more relevant than ever. Building a professional network on platforms like LinkedIn or nurturing a community of supporters on social media reflects Machiavelli's idea of strategic relationship management. The key is to approach influence building with authenticity and purpose, ensuring that connections are mutually beneficial. Machiavelli's writings offer a lens through which we can navigate the complexities of modern life. By balancing virtue with pragmatism, kindness with firmness, and morality with strategy, we can build a life that is both authentic and effective. Let us embrace these timeless teachings, not as a guide to manipulation, but as a framework for thoughtful and resilient living. In the words of Machiavelli himself, "The wise man does at once what the fool does, finally." May we all strive to act wisely, strategically, and authentically in our pursuit of success and fulfillment.